looking at these parts, there are lots of them. You've already said there's 60 to 80. How did you justify the purchase of the printers? Was it a gut feel, or was it a sit down with a spreadsheet and do the calculations to work it all out? How did you go about saying that's the right decision financially as well as technically?
We didn't really necessarily justify it purely from a return on investment or from a financial point of view, because I think there are so many different factors you've got to take into account. So one part of it is R&D. So the way that our R&D process works is that you're putting together lots of different parts, and if those parts are coming out of rotational moulding, they're coming out of injection moulding, it might be vat forming, it might be CNC machines, etc. You've then got to have that part made or that tool made. So you might have a tool made, you might then have the part come out, you might then put that into a prototype. It doesn't quite work, so then you've got to have the tool redesigned, and all of that takes time, because the tool itself might take 3 weeks to build, then it takes another week or 2 weeks to get that part out, and then you've got to modify the tool. So from an R&D point of view, it just A, quickens up the process, and B, stops you having to spend money unnecessarily. Even if you use 3D printing as a way of designing a particular part that you then want made via a tool.
In volume?
In volume, yeah. You would be pretty sure that you were going to get the tool right. Okay. So from our point of view, we saw a massive benefit from an R&D perspective. That you could quicken up the R&D, you could save money by not having tools modified, time more than anything. Ultimately though, that led on to looking at it from a production point of view, and one of the things that you never really tend to do is to sit down and analyse what things really cost you. What I mean by that is my time or Vic's time. So when it comes to ordering a part, you've got to talk to the supplier, you've got to get the latest price, you've then got a lead time, then you've got to buy a minimum volume, then you've got to take the stock in, then you've got to put it all away, then you've got to find storage room for it, and then you've got to deal with the invoice. What I'm saying is the true cost of a part isn't necessarily the pound that you've paid for it. It's everything else is involved in that. What 3D printing has allowed us to do is to only print what we need, and to be able to do that instantly. So if we decide that we're going to do a production run of 20 machines starting on Monday, and I need, for example, 20 of these, I can set the printers going on Friday night, and when I come in on Monday morning, those 20 parts that I need are there. I can't do that, with a part that's coming out
with a supply chain.
No.
Okay.
So ultimately, it's really hard to justify, but I know that there is a cost saving there, because I'm not doing all of those steps that I would normally be doing to store stock. And especially when you get to the point where you've only got one left of something, and you need to build 2 of something. When you need 1, we have to go and buy 1,000 to fulfill 1. Whereas this way, So we moved on quite quickly then to the fact that this could be used as production parts.
Okay.
And as I say, we didn't necessarily sit down and do that full cost analysis, because you don't necessarily cost what every part truly costs you, because it can be difficult to do.
Okay. So